As the sun sets over Beijing, the museum stands silent, yet alive. Within its walls, the story of China continues to unfold. Generation after generation, carved in memory, illuminated in hope. Because history is not the past, it is the mirror of who we are, and the promise of who we can become. The National Museum of China, where the past inspires the future, and the story of humanity never ends. Morning breaks over Beijing. Soft rays of sunlight rise beyond the horizon, bathing Tiananmen Square in a golden glow. The city stirs to life. Distant footsteps echo across the vast open plaza, and the gentle flutter of flags ripples in the cool morning breeze. Above, the sky glows with the pale light of dawn, brushing the rooftops of the Forbidden City with shades of amber and rose. The air feels alive, charged with the quiet hum of history, with the memory of emperors, revolutions, and the dreams of a billion people. And there, standing proudly along the eastern edge of the square, is a monument to China's spirit and legacy, the National Museum of China. Its grand facade stretches across the square like a guardian of time, rows of majestic columns, smooth stone walls, and the emblem of the nation gleaming in the morning light. Here, art and history converge. Here, 5,000 years of civilization awaken, telling stories carved in bronze, brushed in ink, and woven through centuries of triumph and transformation. As the first visitors step inside, the echoes of the square fade into quiet reverence. The past, present, and future of China meet beneath one roof, a temple of memory, a celebration of identity, and a tribute to the enduring soul of a nation. The National Museum of China is more than a building. It is a bridge between eras, where the nation's story unfolds, chapter by chapter, artifact by artifact. Standing at the very heart of Beijing, opposite the Gate of Heavenly Peace, the museum's presence is both symbolic and spiritual. Here, on this sacred ground, history breathes alongside the pulse of modern China. Each stone, each column, carries the weight of a civilization that has endured, adapting, surviving, and flourishing for millennia. The roots of this grand institution stretch back to the same year the last imperial dynasty fell. From the dream of scholars and reformers who wished to preserve the treasures of a changing world, two museums were born, the Museum of Chinese History and the Museum of the Chinese Revolution. For decades, they stood side by side, one telling the story of the ancient dynasties, the other chronicling the birth of a modern nation. Then, in 2003, they were united, two halves of one soul, to form a single, magnificent institution, the National Museum of China. After years of careful planning and architectural rebirth, its doors reopened to the world in 2011, revealing a vast reimagined space of art, design, and memory. The renovation transformed it into one of the largest museums on Earth, with over 2 million artifacts housed beneath its immense roof. As you step inside, the vastness of the grand foyer opens before you, a cathedral of light and marble, lined with towering pillars that seem to reach toward the heavens. Every sound is hushed. Every movement feels reverent. Visitors pause, gazing upward at the soaring ceiling, feeling small before the scale of time itself. This is a place built not just to display history, but to honor it. A place where emperors and poets, warriors and inventors, ordinary people and revolutionary thinkers all share the same eternal stage. Every corridor leads deeper into the story of China, from the mysteries of the Neolithic Age to the triumphs of modern industry and science. It is a journey through identity, resilience, and imagination, a reflection of a nation that never forgets where it came from. Even as it looks boldly toward the future, here, the past is not silent. It speaks through bronze, jade, paper, and silk, through walls that have witnessed centuries of art and conflict, faith and innovation. And as the soft light from the grand windows touches the museum's emblem, the red and gold of China's heart, you understand that this is not just a museum, it is a living memory, a home for the soul of a civilization, a tribute to the people who shaped it and the generations who continue to carry it forward. Stepping beyond the entrance, you find yourself in the heart of majesty, the Grand Hall of the National Museum of China. The space opens like a vision, vast, luminous, almost infinite. Polished marble floors stretch in every direction, mirroring the soft glow of sunlight streaming through high-arched windows. The air carries a sense of awe, a silence filled not with emptiness, but with reverence. Every sound, a footstep, a quiet whisper seems to echo across centuries. Towering pillars rise from the ground like stone guardians, perfectly aligned, each one sculpted with precision and grace. Their symmetry reflects an ancient Chinese philosophy, balance, harmony, and the pursuit of order within beauty. Above, the ceiling soars, a masterpiece of modern engineering inspired by the elegance of classical Chinese architecture. Soft beams of light filter down from hidden skylights, dust motes drifting like faint stars in a tranquil sky. At the far end, a monumental staircase invites visitors to ascend, not just physically, but symbolically, a journey upward through time. Every level holds a different chapter of civilization. Every gallery a new revelation, waiting to be uncovered. As you move through the hall, Banners fluttered gently above the balconies, each one bearing the calligraphy of China's greatest poets and philosophers. Their words seemed to echo through the space. Wisdom about virtue, destiny, and the eternal rhythm of change. To one side, a grand relief sculpture spans an entire wall, a sweeping panorama of China's history carved in stone. From the dawn of agriculture to the rise of great dynasties, from the invention of paper to the forging of steel, the mural captures the essence of progress, the endurance of a people who have always found renewal in reinvention. Visitors walk slowly, their faces lit by curiosity and respect. Families pause beside displays, parents explaining the stories of emperors and artisans to their children. Scholars lean closer to read the inscriptions, tracing the fine lines of the past with thoughtful eyes. Every corner of this hall feels alive, not in movement, but in meaning. It is as if the museum itself breathes, aware of the countless footsteps that have crossed its floor, each one adding to its living memory. In the center stands a single, elegant display, a rotating showcase of China's most treasured relics. Sometimes it holds a gleaming bronze vessel from the Shang dynasty. Sometimes a fragment of ancient jade shaped by hands thousands of years ago. Each object glows beneath its glass case, a spark from the fire of human creativity. The Grand Hall is not just an entrance. It is a threshold between worlds, between the present and the timeless. It invites you to leave behind the noise of the city and enter a sanctuary of reflection. Here, history does not rest in silence. It whispers through the stones, the light, and the air itself. As you walk onward, deeper into the museum's vast corridors, you begin to sense what this place truly is. Not a collection of artifacts, but a living chronicle of the human spirit. As you step beyond the Grand Hall, the light softens, the sound of footsteps fades into a gentle hush, and before you lies the beginning of time itself. The gallery of ancient China unfolds like a dream of the past. Dimly lit corridors guide you through millennia, where glass cases shimmer with relics older than memory. Here, history does not just exist, it breathes, whispers, and calls out across the ages. The journey begins with the Neolithic Age, a time when early humans carved their first tools, shaped pottery with bare hands, and painted their beliefs upon stone. Fragments of red clay jars rest on pedestals, their surfaces etched with the patterns of an emerging civilization. Simple yet sacred, they tell of a people learning to live in rhythm with the earth. You move forward, and the light grows warmer, signaling the dawn of the Bronze Age, when artistry and power fused into one. Before you stand the legendary bronze vessels of the Shang and Zhou dynasties, their dark metallic forms adorned with mythical beasts and swirling motifs. They gleam under soft gold illumination, symbols of kings, ancestors, and sacred rituals. Each one carries a story of ceremonies held beneath flickering torches, of rulers who sought the blessings of heaven, of a society that found divine meaning in the balance of order and chaos. Nearby, an array of oracle bones rests in glass cases, their ancient inscriptions carved with care. The earliest known Chinese writing. You can almost imagine the priestly scholars, holding them over fire, reading the cracks for messages from the gods. These bones were more than tools of divination, they were the first sentences of a language that would one day unite a nation. Further along, you find the delicate beauty of jade carvings, cool, translucent, and luminous under the museum lights. Each curve and contour crafted by hands thousands of years ago. Dragons coil in eternal loops. Discs of jade shimmer like green moons. To the Chinese, jade was more than ornament. It was virtue, purity, the very essence of the soul. The deeper you go, the more you feel time folding in upon itself. One civilization rises, another fades, yet their art, their symbols, their dreams endure. The early dynasties of Xia, Shang, and Zhou come alive here, not as distant myths, but as echoes of human creativity. Walls display timelines, maps, and digital reconstructions of ancient cities, bustling markets, bronze foundries, and palaces that once stood at the center of the world. You can almost hear the clang of metal, the murmur of trade, the chant of rituals long forgotten. And then, in a quiet corner, a single spotlight falls upon a small, cracked ceramic figurine. Its expression is serene, almost smiling. 5,000 years old, yet somehow familiar. It reminds you that beneath the grandeur of empires, the heart of history has always belonged to people, those who lived, loved, created, and dreamed. As you exit the gallery, the light brightens once more. You glance back at the relics, not as distant objects, but as witnesses. They have seen kingdoms rise, cultures flourish, and generations pass like shadows across time. And in that moment, you understand. The story of China does not begin with a dynasty. It begins with the spark of humanity itself. From the quiet echoes of ancient beginnings, the path opens into an era of grandeur, an age when China became an empire of unimaginable power, artistry, and vision. The galleries ahead are bathed in warm, amber light, as though the golden glow of history itself has settled here. Here, the story of dynasties unfolds: the Qin, the Han, the Tang, the Song, the Ming, and the Qing, each one rising like a new dawn, each one leaving behind a legacy that shaped the world. The journey begins with the Qin dynasty, the first to unite the warring states under a single rule. Encased behind glass, a warrior stands silent and proud, a life-size terracotta soldier, his expression calm yet commanding. You can see the careful sculpting of his armor, the precise curve of his hands. Once ready to hold a real weapon, he is but one of thousands, a ghostly army that guarded the tomb of Emperor Qin Shi Huang, the man who first dreamed of a unified China. Moving forward, you enter the brilliance of the Han dynasty, a time of expansion, invention, and flourishing trade. Bronze mirrors, lacquered boxers, and delicate silk fragments shimmer beneath the lights. Maps trace the ancient Silk Road, the artery that connected China to the farthest reaches of the West. You can almost hear the caravans moving across desert sands, carrying silk, spices, and stories between worlds. Then, the gallery blossoms into the radiance of the Tang dynasty, a golden age of culture, poetry, and art. Paintings of court ladies and musicians capture a world of elegance and refinement. Clay figurines dance mid-step, their robes frozen in motion. Music, poetry, and philosophy thrived in this era. And standing here, surrounded by the beauty of Tang craftsmanship, you feel the harmony of a civilization at its peak. Next comes the Song dynasty, where artistry reached a level of poetry itself. Scrolls stretch across the walls, serene landscapes painted in soft ink, mountains wrapped in mist, rivers flowing endlessly through valleys of quiet contemplation. These were not just paintings, they were meditations on existence. Expressions of a culture that found peace in balance and grace in simplicity. As you continue, the Ming dynasty rises before you in splendor. Blue and white porcelain gleams beneath soft light, elegant vases, dishes, and bowls, adorned with dragons and lotus flowers, each brushstroke perfect, each form timeless. These treasures once traveled across oceans, symbols of China's artistry and power. Nearby, richly embroidered robes shimmer the garments of emperors and scholars, their patterns woven with gold thread and heavenly symbols. Then comes the Qing dynasty, the last of the great empires, a period of both grandeur and transformation. Exquisite jade seals, imperial portraits, and intricate clocks from Europe reveal a China that looked inward and outward, embracing both tradition and change. You can sense the tension of an empire at the edge of modernity, the beauty of its height, the fragility of its fall. All around, the galleries whisper of dynasties long gone, of palaces now quiet, of rulers whose names still echo in the hearts of their descendants. Through these relics, you glimpse the rhythm of history, a cycle of creation, decline, and renewal that has shaped the Chinese soul for thousands of years. And as you stand at the end of this journey through the age of empires, you realize that these were not just kings and empires, they were chapters in a single story, the story of a civilization that built its greatness on wisdom, art, and the eternal search for harmony. From the grandeur of empires, you step into a world of serenity, a place where silence speaks, and ink becomes the language of the soul. The calligraphy and painting gallery welcomes you with a hush so deep you can almost hear the gentle breath of history moving across silk. Soft light filters through high windows, illuminating scrolls that seem to float in still air, delicate, ancient, and timeless. Here, the energy shifts. You have left the realm of emperors and entered the realm of poets, a place where power is expressed not through armies or palaces, but through the sweep of a brush and the whisper of imagination. The first scroll stretches across an entire wall, black ink, fluid and alive, spilling across rice paper in graceful arcs. It is the work of a Tang dynasty scholar, his calligraphy both art and meditation. Each character seems to breathe, each stroke balanced between strength and emptiness, capturing the rhythm of thought and emotion in pure form. Calligraphy, in China, is not merely writing, it is philosophy in motion. The brush becomes an extension of the heart, and the ink reveals the character of the spirit. In these strokes lies the mind of Confucius, the wisdom of Laozi, the clarity of the scholar, and the stillness of the monk. As you move along the gallery, the paintings unfold like windows into eternity. Mountains rise in mist and cloud, rivers wind through valleys touched by the faintest hint of light. Tiny figures walk along distant paths, dwarfed by nature's vastness. The artists of the Song and Yuan dynasties painted not to imitate the world, but to capture its essence, to reveal that all life, human and natural, exists in harmony. You stop before a masterpiece, a hanging scroll of mountains shrouded in fog. The brushwork is sparse, yet deliberate. Each stroke suggests wind, water, and time itself flowing together. This is Shan Shui mountain and water painting, a tradition that turns landscape into philosophy, a vision of life balanced between strength and stillness. Nearby, another display glows beneath gentle spotlights, a scroll of plum blossoms painted in the cold light of winter. The petals seem almost real, fragile, yet enduring. They symbolize resilience, beauty that blooms even in hardship. The artist's seal, a small red mark, glows like a heartbeat on the corner of the page. Further down, the gallery transforms into a dialogue of color and form. Here, hang the masterpieces of later dynasties, the Ming and Qing painters, who added depth and vibrancy to tradition. Birds in flight, bamboo bending in the wind, the moon rising over still lakes, all painted with a single brush dipped in thought. Every artwork is accompanied by verses of poetry lines that dance beside the images, written by the artists themselves. In Chinese art, words and images are never apart. Together, they form a harmony of meaning, a union of the seen and the felt, where painting becomes poetry, and poetry becomes painting. The air in this room feels sacred, as if every brushstroke carries a whisper from another time. You can sense the presence of the artists, their patience, their devotion, their silent pursuit of perfection. And as you stand before the final scroll, a vast panorama of mountains fading into mist, you feel something shift within you. It is calm, and it is timeless. For in this space, surrounded by ink, silk, and the wisdom of centuries, you understand that beauty, in its truest form, is not something we see, it is something we feel. The air shifts once again as you leave the serenity of brush and ink. You step into a gallery where the past meets the pulse of change, where tradition gives way to transformation. This is the modern era, the story of China's journey through turbulence, courage, and rebirth. The walls here are darker, the light sharper. It feels deliberate, as if the very atmosphere reflects the weight of history carried within these rooms. Photographs, paintings, and artifacts tell a story not of emperors or scholars, but of people, the dreamers, the workers, the revolutionaries who shaped a new world. The exhibition begins with the late Qing dynasty, a time when the empire's strength began to falter. Display cases show old trade treaties, faded maps, and foreign coins, symbols of a nation struggling to hold its sovereignty amid global winds of change. A broken imperial seal lies beneath the glass, its crack running through the red stone like a wound that never fully healed. Then, you move forward into the 19th and early 20th centuries, a time of upheaval and awakening. Paintings depict the Opium Wars, the burning of palaces, the clash of worlds, but among these scenes of sorrow rise the embers of renewal. Photographs of reformers, teachers, and revolutionaries line the walls, faces lit by determination and hope. In one corner stands a relic of history, a faded red banner from the 1911 revolution, its fabric worn, its message eternal, the call for freedom, unity, and progress. Nearby, the first newspaper printed after the fall of the Qing dynasty lies preserved, its headlines declaring the birth of a new China. The sound in this hall seems to change, as if distant voices still echo through the space. You can almost hear the chants of students in the May 4th movement, their cries for science, democracy, and reform. The air feels electric, the spirit of awakening captured in photographs and ink. As you move deeper, the timeline shifts into the mid-20th century, a period of war, resistance, and revolution. Weapons used in the War of Resistance against Japan are displayed beside diaries of soldiers and letters from civilians. Each page, each word, each photograph speaks of loss, but also of unbreakable spirit. Here is a nation that endured suffering, yet refused to surrender. Then comes the moment of rebirth, the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949. The room opens into a grand space illuminated in soft red and gold. A projection on the wall shows the voice of Chairman Mao Zedong as he declared from Tiananmen Gate, "The Chinese people have stood up." The sound of that sentence reverberates through the gallery. And even in this quiet, you can feel its power. The exhibit is not just a record, it's a heartbeat. Uniforms, photographs, and everyday items from that time paint the portrait of a country rebuilding itself from the ashes. Further along, you see the evolution of modern China, from the steel foundries and rice fields of the 1950s, to the economic and cultural transformation of the late 20th century. Interactive screens come alive with images of skyscrapers, high-speed trains, and space exploration. It's a sweeping panorama, a nation rediscovering itself through invention and resilience. Every object, every photograph, every symbol here speaks of one truth, that history is not just the story of power, but the story of people who believed in change. And as you reach the final exhibit, a gleaming model of China's modern skyline rising under a crimson sky, you realize that this gallery is not an ending. It's a bridge between the trials of yesterday and the possibilities of tomorrow. Here, the story of China continues, bold, unbroken, and forever evolving. As you step into the next gallery, the atmosphere transforms once more. The lighting shifts, cool blues and silvers replacing the warm golds of the past. You have entered a new dimension of the museum, a place where ancient heritage meets modern imagination, where tradition merges seamlessly with technology. This is the Gallery of Innovation and Future, a celebration of China's vision for the centuries ahead. The first thing that greets you is a luminous wall of glass, alive with motion. Projected across it are swirling galaxies of digital light patterns that form, dissolve, and reform again into dragons, mountains, and calligraphy. It is history rewritten in pixels, a fusion of art and data that seems to breathe as you move. The space feels alive. Interactive screens glow softly along the walls, inviting you to reach out, to touch, to explore. With the simple motion of your hand, dynasties unfold before you. The Terracotta Army in full 3D, the Great Wall stretching across a digital landscape, and the Forbidden City reconstructed in stunning virtual reality. Children laugh and wonder as they move through holographic exhibits, watching ancient bronze vessels spin weightlessly in the air, each one revealing hidden carvings invisible to the naked eye. Technology here is not used to replace the past, but to illuminate it, to make history live, breathe, and connect with the present. In one corner, a massive LED globe rotates slowly in the dark. It glows with golden threads of light, tracing the modern Silk Road, a network of culture, trade, and technology linking China with the world. You realize that the idea born thousands of years ago still thrives today, reborn through science, architecture, and global exchange. The museum's designers have crafted this gallery not merely as a display, but as an experience, a vision of what heritage can become in the age of innovation. Ancient pottery is shown beside robotic replicas that can recreate lost patterns. Faded scrolls are digitally restored before your eyes, their colors and poems blooming back to life after centuries of silence. One installation in particular commands attention, a long, glowing corridor of mirrors that stretches into infinity. Along the walls, scenes of China's future shimmer and shift. Cities powered by clean energy, artists creating with AI and holographic tools, scientists exploring the farthest reaches of space. It is a vision of continuity, a story where the wisdom of Confucius and the dreams of modern innovators walk side by side. In the center of the room stands a symbol, a sculpture made of glass and bronze. Its shape is abstract, yet its meaning is clear. It represents the unbroken thread of culture, the connection between the first spark of civilization and the infinite horizon of tomorrow. Soft ambient music fills the air, a blend of traditional instruments and electronic tones. It feels as though the ancient guqin and the modern synthesizer are speaking to each other, bridging time through harmony. As you look around, it becomes clear, the National Museum of China is not a place that looks backward with nostalgia. It looks forward with vision. Here, history is not a relic of the past, it is a living force, guiding the present, inspiring the future. And as you leave the gallery, you pass beneath a glowing inscription on the wall, for simple characters, inheritance and innovation. In that light, the message of this museum becomes crystal clear. China's story is not finished. It is still being written, with every invention, every discovery, and every dream that dares to imagine what lies beyond the horizon. As you leave the Gallery of Innovation, the light changes once again from the shimmer of technology to the warm, quiet glow of understanding. Here, in the Gallery of World Civilizations, the National Museum of China opens its arms to the world. This is not just China's story now, it is humanity's story. The air feels different here, calm, almost reverent. Gentle music plays in the background, the soft echo of ancient flutes blending with the faint hum of voices in dozens of languages. The room is vast, but intimate, its design inspired by the belief that all cultures, no matter how far apart, share the same roots of creativity, curiosity, and hope. Before you stand artifacts from distant lands, a golden mask from ancient Egypt, its eyes still shimmering with mystery, a sculpted marble bust from Greece, its expression serene and timeless, and fragments of pottery from Mesopotamia, the cradle of civilization. Each piece carries the soul of another people, another time. Yet displayed here, they feel connected, as if in conversation with China's own treasures. The lighting in this gallery is tender and precise, each object illuminated like a star in a dark sky. Every sculpture, every fragment of stone and clay, becomes a voice in the grand chorus of humanity. One exhibit captures the eye, a delicate Egyptian sarcophagus, painted with intricate hieroglyphs. Beside it stands a model of a Han Dynasty tomb figure. Two civilizations separated by continents, yet both believed in honoring the journey beyond life, in preserving the essence of the human spirit through art. Nearby, the beauty of Greco-Roman art meets the elegance of Chinese bronze. A marble Athena, goddess of wisdom, stands beside a Zhou Dynasty ritual vessel, two symbols of intellect and reverence. Crafted in different languages of form, yet speaking the same truth, that knowledge and faith are the twin pillars of civilization. Farther ahead, exhibits from Africa, South America, and South Asia tell stories of kingdoms, myths, and innovations. Masks, jewelry, textiles, each one vibrant with the colors of its homeland. Together, they form a mosaic of human achievement. Interactive screens allow visitors to explore the connections between these cultures. How trade, migration, and imagination carried ideas across deserts and oceans. Maps come alive, tracing the paths of ancient merchants and sailors, showing how silk, spices, glass, and gold linked people long before modern borders existed. And among all these wonders, the message of the museum is clear, that civilization has never been about isolation but about exchange. It is here that the National Museum of China reveals one of its most profound truths, that the treasures of the world are not strangers to one another. They are part of a shared human journey, a collective memory carved in stone, painted on silk, written in countless tongues. You stand in the center of the gallery, surrounded by light, color, and time. It feels as though the walls themselves breathe, as if the world's history has gathered here, united under one roof. And in that stillness, one thought rises clearly above all others, that art has always been our common language. Empires may fall, borders may shift, but the spirit of creation endures unchanged, eternal, and universal. As you walk toward the exit of this gallery, you pass beneath an inscription, engraved both in Chinese and English, "From the world to the world, one humanity, shared across time." The words linger long after you leave, a quiet reminder that while this museum stands proudly in Beijing, its heart beats for every civilization that ever dared to dream. The halls grow quieter now. The echo of footsteps fades into the distance, and the golden light of late afternoon spills softly through the grand windows of the atrium. You stand once more in the heart of the museum, beneath the soaring ceilings, surrounded by marble, glass, and history. The journey through time is complete, yet something deeper lingers, a feeling that history is not behind you, but all around you, breathing, alive. Before you, a vast mural stretches across the wall, a sweeping panorama of China's past and present. From the misty peaks of ancient mountains to the glowing skylines of modern cities, it tells a single, continuous story, the story of a civilization that has endured for over 5,000 years, shaped by art, struggle, wisdom, and rebirth. You can almost feel the rhythm of that story in the brushstrokes of the first calligraphers, in the bronze echoes of the Shang and Zhou dynasties, in the whispered teachings of Confucius.